Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Owen, guys, the channel that brings you your team every single day. Rangers news, Rangers views, Rangers updates, transfer speculation, podcast, live streams, podcast tonight, remember, at 8 with Marina Ballantyne from Heart and Hand. Click on that notify me and you'll be able to come on to the live chat and chat with me and Marina as we talk all things Glasgow Rangers. Obviously, as well, if you haven't already done so, please check out the video from this morning, the news video that drops every morning with a picture of our new signing, Dujon Sterling, on that title slide. Rangers' latest news. Check that out. Anyway, let's talk about the man who is the saga himself. The man who has been coming. He's been going. He's been not coming. He's been staying. He's been going to Manchester United. He's been coming to Rangers. He's been doing everything. That is, of course, we talk about Jack Butland. Now, I know what you're thinking. A lot of Rangers fans don't want Butland because we think, obviously, with Robbie McCrory, we have a future Rangers number one there, star in the making in young Robbie, who has done very well this season. Don't get me wrong. The guy has kept a number of clean sheets, including 2 clean sheets against that lot from across the city and one in the Europa League as well. So, well done, Robbie, on that. Personally, I do think Robbie's a good shot stopper. I do think that he is a decent player. I do have certain reservations about Robbie, in particular his ability to come for crosses under pressure. You look at the Hibs game, you look at the St Mirren game at the weekend. There were a number of opportunities times where Robbie had to come for the ball under pressure and he flapped at the ball, and that is something that slightly does worry me. Particularly when you're obviously talking about playing against that lot at Parkhead, and obviously as well at playing in Europe at a much higher level than the SPL. When you're coming across obviously those teams like Inter Milan, like Real Madrid, Barcelona, and obviously all the English contingent as well. You do need that goalkeeper who is rock solid at the back. But also you've got to think about it in terms of the fact that if we do bring Butland in, which looks very likely now, and I'll talk about that in a moment, having 2 players, outstanding players for the same position is a good thing. When you've got the 2 players pushing each other, it pushes up standards. I do a lot of NFL. I follow Pittsburgh Steelers, and our head coach talks about iron sharpening iron, and he also talks about 2 dogs, 1 bone. 2 dogs fight for a bone, and the strongest dog comes out on top with that bone. So I think that's what it's going to be this summer with Robbie McCrory and Jack Butland. If Jack obviously looks like Jack is coming now, it is going to be 2 dogs, 1 bone. 1 bone being the Rangers starting goalkeeper shirt, and 2 dogs in Jack Butland and Robbie McCrory fighting over that 1 bone. Well, it does look like Butland will now be coming to Rangers. A number of things in the media are telling us that this is the case. First of all, there was the story the other day where he was asked whether or not he would be signing for Glasgow Rangers, which he responded, maybe. Now, we know that often in football, that is code for yes. Also, apparently, according to a number of newspapers, including the Daily Mail in England, Crystal Palace goalkeeper Jack Butland has held talks with Michael Beale. That was on Tuesday evening. He is still on loan at Manchester United, and it is felt that any deal for Butland will not be concluded until Manchester United play in the FA Cup final this weekend against Manchester City at Wembley. The All Manchester Cup final obviously will be a big draw, and Butland will be on the bench for Manchester United in that game. But it does appear that Butland did hold talks with Beale on Tuesday evening as the Rangers look to finalise a deal for the giant stopper. This guy is 6'5". He is a big unit. And it does obviously fit in as well with the types of players that Michael Beale does seem to be going for this summer. Big, physical, huge guys that are going to be a presence this season. As we know, Scottish football is tough, it's intense, it's a million miles an hour, and that is certainly something that, Butland will, I think, relish. Yeah. Now, Rangers are very keen to bring in Butland. I think some people have even drawn some similarities with, obviously, with that lot from across the city signing Joe Hart, who was out of favour in England, came up to Scotland, has done, reasonably well. I don't like to say that. Now, Butland is out of contract in June and obviously is apparently preparing for a move. Now, Manchester United apparently did offer him a large salary increase. However, it appears that Butland has put that to one side because he wants first-team football. And he knows in his heart of hearts, realistically, he's not going to get that at Manchester United. Not when you've got the Spanish number 1 goalkeeper, David De Gea, ahead of you. That is unrealistic expectation for Butland. De Gea is on big money. De Gea is Manchester United's number 1 goalkeeper. They paid a substantial fee for, and they obviously wanted to get that value for money for him. Now, his salary demands apparently were initially a problem for Rangers and apparently were holding back and holding up the deal. And that is perhaps why this deal has not yet been finalised. Now, it does appear that a compromise has been reached between Beale and between Butland and Rangers as to these contract demands and these salary demands, with the fact that the former England goalkeeper, Jack Butland, will now join Rangers. You know, he sees that he does very much fit the description that Beale gave of the type of players that he wants to bring in. Beale talked about the fact that he wanted to bring in players with experience of playing at the very highest level. Again, not necessarily veterans, but, you know, players who've been there, seen it, done it. You know, Butland has played for England. He's played in the Premier League. He's played in the English Championship. He has a wide and varied experience. You know, he is like, I think, if I've got to put a percentage value on it, I think it's 99% done now that he will sign for Rangers and he will be with Rangers. But obviously, you know, anything could happen. We all know that transfers are not ever done and dusted until the player is actually there at Auchenhowie or in front of Ibrox holding up a scarf. But it does appear from all indications in the media and from what the club is saying and what Michael Beale has alluded to in his comments as well, that this deal is going to be done and done very soon. But like I said, I don't think it will be done this week because of the fact that Manchester United are focusing obviously on their FA Cup final against Manchester City on Saturday as they seek to take out one leg of Manchester City's treble that Manchester City are chasing this season. Butland, I think, would bring a good experience to Rangers. He's a quality shot stopper. He commands his area well. His physical size and strength means he comes for crosses well, commands his area. I think he's been unlucky in recent times in terms of first-team appearances, some bad career decisions on clubs to move to, I think, in terms of Palace and now Manchester United. But I do think that his anxiousness, his desire to want to come to Rangers to compete for that starting spot is certainly something that you should applaud. And, like I said on the Dujon Sterling video the other day, if you've got a player that wants to come to the club, that wants to be here, and I know people criticize John Lundstrom, but Lundstrom wants to be a Ranger, doesn't he? And you see that at times in his play. And I think with Butland now displaying this desire to want to fight for the number one spot, to be the starter here, and then to obviously, once he gets it, keep that starting position, you are going to see a player who is committed to the club. And that's what we need next season as we go to challenge that lot from across the city and obviously to push on in the European competitions. So it looks like the Butland deal will be done. Good news in my opinion. Like I said, 2 quality players for every position is what Rangers need going forward. Well, Rangers fans, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of Jack Butland coming to Rangers and the fact this deal will probably be done next week. Thank you so much again for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. As always, guys, if you've enjoyed the content, please hit the sub, please ring the notification bell, set it to all so you always get all of the great content. Remember, we've got the podcast tonight at 8 with myself and Marina from Heart and Hand. If you can give this video a like, guys, I would appreciate it. I'm back to speak to you again here on Glasgow Rangers Nation, the channel that brings you your team every day. The channel is run by the fans, for you, the fan.